Hello Homo sapiens! Hope you are doing good. If not, no worries, because I'm back with an interesting video. In our previous video, we had a discussion about formation of oceans, and we are going to discuss formation of continents in our next video. But before that, we must know about certain things such as convectional currents, tectonic plates and Bowens reaction series, and how these things contribute towards the formation of oceans and continents. People who haven't watched the previous video, I'll suggest you to do it so that you can maintain the connectivity that I am talking about. You are watching Fun with Geo channel. We come with interesting videos related to static and contemporary geographical events and sometimes inspirational videos too. To know much about objective and mandate of this channel, click the link provided in the description. So without any delay, let's get started. So now we are going to discuss how convectional currents led to the formation of tectonic plates. We already had a discussion about convectional currents in our previous video. So convectional currents are the upwelling and downsinking hot molten magma, which arises from the mantle. So now let us know how these convectional currents led to the formation of tectonic plates. So here is the core, mantle and crust, which is primitive crust, and the convectional currents which were arising from the Earth's interior and moving towards Earth's surface, and later it is sinking back down. First, let us look at the point of divergence, where the upwelling convectional current melts primitive crust, which leads to crustal thinning followed by crustal breakage. And now, coming to the point of convergence, the downwelling convectional currents will pull down this primitive crust. As we know, temperature increases with increasing depth. So, when this primitive crust is pulled down by the downwelling current, the prevailing temperature at this depth will melt the primitive crust. So this is how it looks like. Sorry, I forgot to draw a lateral movement of the convectional currents. Now, at a point of divergence, the convectional current melts the primitive crust, which leads to crustal thinning followed by crustal breakage. Whereas, at a point of convergence, the downsinking convectional current pulls down the primitive crust, which gets melted due to prevailing high temperatures at greater depth. And finally, crustal breakage at both points of divergent and convergent leads to formation of plates. The interaction between these plates leads to the formation of oceanic crust and continental crust. This is the flowchart of entire process. These points are called plate boundaries. Based on the interaction of these plates at their boundaries, the plate boundaries are divided into three types. One is divergent plate boundary, where tectonic plates move away from each other. This plate boundary results in the formation of ridges and faulting. And next is convergent plate boundary, where the tectonic plates move towards each other. This leads to subduction of heavier plate. Now the question is how to decide which plate is heavier. The plate which contains high oceanic part is heavier because oceans are denser. Now again the question arises is why oceans are denser? So this is how we have to learn. Question everything. Sometimes we may get humiliated. Sometimes people may laugh. All those things doesn't matter. What matters is questioning widens your thought process and improves your decision making skills. So it's better to have a question that may not be answered instead of having the answers that cannot be questioned. If your question is stupid, it is okay, but have a question. Now moving back to our question, why oceans are dense? You'll get to know this by the end of this video. And the last one is transform plate boundary, where the two plates slide past each other. So the entire world is divided into several major plates, minor plates, and sub-minor plates. So now let us observe the location of the divergent, convergent and transform plate boundary. Here we can see at mid-Atlantic Ocean there is a divergent plate boundary, and there is a convergent plate boundary between the Eurasian plate and Indo-Australian plate. And here we can observe between the Nazca plate and Antarctica plate there is a transform plate boundary. So that was about convectional currents and how it leads to the formation of tectonic plates. Now let us discuss about Bowens reaction series. This is very important to understand the formation of continents. Before Bowens reaction series, let us know about the magma differentiation. Magma is a hot molten rock material which upwells from the asthenosphere, which is a part of mantle, towards the Earth's surface. So while magma is upwelling, it interacts with the solid rocks on its way. So this hot molten magma leads to the disintegration of rocks into minerals and minerals into elements. This process is called magma differentiation. In our previous video, we read about density differentiation. Let me know in the comments what density differentiation leads to. Now, let's get into the Bowens reaction series. Here, the circle particles are the hot molten magma which is upwelling from the core towards the Earth's surface. And the shaded region of the rectangular boxes represent rocks. And olivine, gabbro, peridot are the types of rocks. So these rocks contains different minerals like silica, iron, magnesium, quartz, feldspar, limestone and so on. Now let us restrict our discussion to silica, iron and magnesium. Iron and magnesium are the denser materials, whereas silica is a lighter material. As we know, denser material settles at the greater depth towards core, whereas the lighter material tries to move towards the Earth's surface. So silica being lighter always tries to move towards the Earth's surface. Let us start our discussion from core towards the Earth's surface. So while magma is upwelling, it interacts with neighboring rocks which leads to magma differentiation. The magma differentiation of the olivine rock results in the formation of minerals such as silica, iron and magnesium. Iron and the magnesium being denser, they settle at the lower layers of the earth, whereas the silica being lighter, it tries to move towards the upper parts of the earth. The magmatic differentiation of olivine rocks leads to the formation of gabbro rocks, and the magmatic differentiation of the gabbro rocks leads to the formation of peridot rocks, and magmatic differentiation of peridot rocks leads to the formation of basaltic rock. Basaltic rock is the primary material in the formation of oceanic crust, and further magmatic differentiation of this basaltic rock leads to the formation of granite and andesite rock, which forms the base for continental crust. So this entire cycle is called Bowens reaction series. And one more thing is, as we move towards the Earth's surface, the proportion of silica increases. So silica is a lighter rock. Gabbro rock has high proportion of silica than olive rock, but it has less proportion of silica than peridot rock, which means gabbro rock is lighter than olivine, but it is denser than peridot rock. Similarly, peridot rock is lighter than gabbro rock but denser than basalt rock, because basalt rock has high proportion of silica compared to peridot rock. Now this basaltic rock is an oceanic crust. Magmatic differentiation of this basaltic rock leads to the formation of granite, which is continental crust, which means this granite rock has much more silica than basaltic rock. If basaltic rock has 10,000 grams of silica, then this continental crust, which is made up of granite, may have 1 lakh grams of silica, which means the continental crust, which is made up of granite rock, is lighter than the basaltic rock. So this is the reason the ocean crust gets subducted under the continental crust, and this is also the reason why the ocean crust is denser. This is how Bowens reaction series looks like. But let us not get into the details. Rather, let us restrict ourselves to this part. As we discussed before, ultramatic consists of olivine rock and peridot rock, magmatic differentiation of which leads to the formation of basaltic, which is oceanic crust. And further magmatic differentiation of this basaltic rock leads to the formation of andesite and granite. So these two are the elements of continental crust. So as we move from top to below, density of the rocks reduces because the proportion of silica increases. This is the reason oceans are denser than continents. Finally and obviously, like, share, comment and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.